The seagulls follow trawler. It's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you very much.
Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Don't back down, double down. Don't back down, double down.
Here we go, the T.N.F. What is happening, everyone? We are 45 minutes away from this bottle of San Miguel becoming a big bottle of champagne. Because I'm telling you, I know, Mark, you can say what you want, big boy, but I am telling you, if that score stays the same, I'm calling it the night, mate. But that's just the way it is. I think me and Terry kind of called it the other week, but incredible scenes so far, lads. Incredible scenes. It's going to be lively on this bus tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I can tell you that right now. None more so than in the live chat already. It is looking lively, and I've got to say to one of the first ever members on the Boise bus. This might even be before your time, Mark. Chunks in my trunks has made his return, and he's called himself the return of Chunks in my trunks.
I remember him.
Yeah, he is lively. He is lively. Brilliant to have you back, mate. So I thought I'd give you a special shout out. Andy Cambridge, I know we'll be watching as well. He's been in touch on the old Twitter recently. Big shout out to you, but no bigger shout out into the three legends I'm with tonight. Phil McGinley, what is happening, big man?
All good, mate. Feeling a bit sinister tonight, mate. That's all I'm saying on the matter.
You tee them up and I'll knock them out, baby.
Yes, if you know, you know. But anyway, I'm not too bad, mate. Not too bad. All ready for another Thursday night forum.
Just you watch what you say. Didn't mention any flavours of crisps. Mark Kearney, the judge. Judgment Day is coming, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk a bit about that later as well. But, Mark, first and foremost, how are you, mate? You good?
Not bad, mate. I watched the first half of that zombie match there, and there's about 8,000 fans behind the goals dressed up as... You remember the Mr. Frosty slush puppy machines you got in the 80s? I've actually got a picture of it, mate, honestly. I don't know if you can see that. That's where they're all dressed up. I don't know what's happening, honestly. I put my telly on there. I know it's fucking Christmas, right? But they're all dressed up as slush puppies. Fuck me, man. Anyway, I'm doing very well, boys. See yourself, mate.
Brilliant, mate. Brilliant. And what an intro from the judge. He starts as he means to go on. Liam, the punk duck warlord over in Canada. How the devil are you, my man?
My mate say, brilliant. My mate club in Hamilton just texted me. He says they're calling them stun shows. What the zombies are there? Thanks, Ethan. Thanks for that battle, mate. Vancouver is great. Nice and sunny afternoon here in Vancouver. As we were saying before, legalised cannabis. It could be a happy place. You can talk to happy bus, and beavers. Aye.
Brilliant, mate. But that is a classic. What a start we're off to. Stun shows.
Yes, things are back to the way it should be, right? They're getting pumped. We have a laugh. Banter days are back.
We don't want to count our chickens before they hatch, but it's bloody tempting, isn't it?
That's true.
It is tempting. It is so tempting.
It's good for a laugh, mate.
I hate being the voice of reason. It doesn't suit me. I'm all for the banter, mate. It's good. It's been eventful. I've got it on in the background. So if you see me like the other side of my face,
look at a free kick just now, boys. Look at a nice free kick that they just positioned. But I see it. Hang on.
Are you going back to your comments?
It's getting whipped in. Oh, the zombies have cleared it.
Mark, I remember your commentary for the last time, big boy. I don't think it is the future. I think you need to stick to being the judge.
Well, it's a corner kick to Hibs, mate. So if you miss it, it's not my fault.
I've got it there. I've got it there. We will be
my dulcet tones.
Dulcet tones.
Right, lads. Obviously, there is a wee bit of excitement. Obviously, the score, but I mean, it's just a bit of banter. But tonight's idea was we were going to be talking about the return of the numero uno team in Scotland, Phil McGinley, and that undoubtedly is Glasgow Celtic. They return. Have you missed the absence of Celtic? Have you been missing that over the last few weeks, mate? Because I sure as hell have. I'm sure everyone in the comments have. And Bustalgia can't come down quick enough for me as well. I'm just going to add this in as we look ahead to it. Happy hunting ground for us over the years. You know, I certainly have in our recent history. And that's not taking anything for granted, by the way, but it has been a happy hunting ground for us. But it's on paper fear that it used to give, I think, slightly diluted. You know, I think Brendan Rodgers ruined Aberdeen's sort of whole attitude to playing Celtic for a long time. I think he seemed to really break their hearts. You know, obviously the number of finals or semi-finals and the second place finishes they got 3 of. I think we're their worst nightmare in the league, to be honest with you. We should be every team's worst nightmare. Let's be abundantly clear. But Phil, the footy is back. The footy, as Kevin Thompson calls it. I'm thinking of him right now. But the football is back this weekend. Bustalgia, over to you, Phil.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I mean, the World Cup's filled a hole as well as it can, but ultimately this is our bread and butter. This is what, this is our team that we're just dying to watch. And I'm excited, man. I mean, it's good that the way this World Cup is ending, we're not having like a month break till the football returns. It's like we're right back into it because obviously in Scotland we decided no, we're just going to kick off before the final even takes place. So we're looking forward to it, man. It's be good to see them back on Saturday, and depending on how things go tonight, could be a massive opportunity, but we'll see how that goes over the next 45 minutes.
Well, definitely. The next 45 minutes are going to dictate how this whole broadcast goes. So we need to accept that. I wasn't saying broadcast in a fucking pretentious way. It's called that, right, on the fucking StreamYard, right? Mark, the champions are back in action. I'm going to take your eyes away from that screen for 2 seconds.
I'm sorry.
Mate, and no, you're fine.
It's got this next to my... Sorry, buddy, you go.
No, you're fine. No, don't be daft. Mark, the return of Celtic. It is an away day that is, as I say, on paper, notoriously one of the trickier ones. I feel Celtic have had Aberdeen's number, though, for a number of years now, particularly going back to, I think, Rodgers' time. And since then, we've always seemed to get good results. Last year, none more. So remember the 3-2 game? I did a fan cam for that. We're going to bring that back, by the way, between now and the end of the season, ladies and gentlemen. I'll tell you that right now, because that was a good laugh when I used to do it. I forgot all about it. So we'll bring that back for a couple of games this between now and the end of the season. But I remember doing that, and we were 2-0 up. It went to 2-2, and then Jota scored within, quite like tonight, about 50, 60 seconds after Aberdeen had equalised. It was bizarre. And I just feel we go into the game full of confidence no matter what the end result is tonight, Mark, at Ibrox.
Oh, I mean, we've had a bit of fun watching it and hopefully laughing about it, but I always say that if Celtic look after themselves, it doesn't matter what anybody else does, and that's That's my opinion, mate. I mean, as much as we'll be keeping both eyes on the football night, that's just natural. That's what rivals do. But you touched on Brendan Rodgers at time at Celtic. I get what you mean, because even though Dyler was putting Aberdeen to bed at the end of the season, Aberdeen were getting really close to Celtic and they were getting results off Celtic. Yeah. You know what I mean? Maybe it felt worse than what it actually was, but I just felt that Aberdeen was been a hard place for us to go to for years. Don't get me wrong. I look at the past maybe 4 or 5 years, and we've won more or less every time. But I'm still often nervous about going to Bustalgia. I don't know what it is about the place. It just, anybody's ever been up there will tell you it's a freezing country, a place to go to. But it's also, I mean, it's the Celtic players. This Celtic team seem to thrive on it. I mean, I think Angie's first away victory was it?
Yes, this is the day. This is the day. I remember that was a game-changing moment for Ange as well. He'll have sweet memories there, Mark.
Well, it was one each going into the last 5-6 minutes. I think the boy went up putting out on loan Montgomery to Aberdeen. He ended up setting the goal up. And football, as I always say, is like life. It's like it's a sliding doors moments. You know what I mean, mate? And that sliding doors moment for Ange and for Celtic, we came out on top there. But it could easily have been a case that they draw one each, and it finds take a wee different perspective for Celtic at that time of the season, because we lost 3-1 out of the first 6 matches. I agree with you, mate. We've kind of put that hoodoo to bed, a bit like Easter Road in Almondvale, I'll call it. But I'm looking forward to it Saturday. I'm looking forward to seeing how the team return. That's the interesting thing for me, is how this team returns for that long extended break. But also, we've also got a window coming up, and I think that plays in players' minds as well, especially the want away players.
Yeah,
if that is a thing.
Well, that's a huge part of it. We're going to go into it and sort of discuss that at a wee bit of greater length just coming up as well. Liam, it's been 3-4 long weeks now. Not that I've been counting clearly, because I just said 3 or 4 weeks, but it's been it feels like it's been the close season summer break all over again. I mean, since we started the bus, for example, we started it in December, then we had the January closed for 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks. Then we had the longest summer in Celtic's, I think in over a decade for Celtic, because they were straight in the group stage. Then we get 3 months into the season. There's another break from November to mid-December. But it's good to have them back, isn't it, big boy?
Mate, I've never looked so forward to a 4:15 kickoff in my life.
I forget that's the time. So it's 4:15 a.m. because it's 12:30 here, isn't it?
Aye. Well, it's 4:30, so it's 4:30 kickoff. So I'll leave here about 4, walk up to the pub, and then just watch the game. But I look forward to it. I like it.
Brilliant.
You get used to it at that time in the morning. It's dangerous.
People find that amazing, but how these people are still doing it, like say Liam and that. Do you not find that amazing how, see when you're so far away, I think it can be so easy to feel distant, but for you to just up at 3:30 in the morning, travel miles or whatever it is to go to the pub to watch it, and you're not alone, mate. That just shows you what Celtic means to folk.
Man, that's a brilliant point. I mean,
people have told me about driving from state to state to go and see, like they're in Chicago or something, and the nearest club is another place in Illinois, but it's like a different city, and they'll just rent a car and go and do it. I know loads of people that have done that sort of crazy stuff myself. People do all lengths to go and see stuff,
I just love it. I love it because I think it shows the dedication you've got. You know what I mean? There's not, it's easy to say. And I think there's an element of it, like it turns into like fucking Northern Soul music or sometimes with some Celtic fans. If you're not there, you're not part of it, you're not a real fan, you're a fair weather fan and all that stuff. I mean, people can live and breathe it in many, many different guises and different ways. And I think, none more so than the examples that you give there, Liam, getting up and as you say, tell me why it is you've never looked forward to a 4 a.m. kickoff so much, big boy.
Because I think this is a really good chance to see how Ange is going to motivate this team. I'm looking at this window as a 2.0, right? He's had the team a full year now, close to what he wants, right? On a winning movement and all that. And he was starting it. So as far as the culture of the team goes, this is a really good chance for us all to see. It's like Like when we played that St Mirren, going into that St Mirren game, I thought we were just going to crush everybody at that point. We were flying high, right? And then it just went boom, just caved in. So now I think is just get that momentum going back again. And this is another chance for them to step up a gear. And you'll see how much the time motivated certain players miss the World Cup, either because of their team, they didn't get selected, or they're just not in that part of their career yet. But I think this will see. You'll see who's want to be that next. Like, there's Juranovic getting mentioned with Barcelona and clubs like that. I think this is brilliant motivation for the players in their team to show up and show us fans like, all right, what's this big plan of Ange? Who's showing up for it? Yeah, I'm excited. That's what I'm looking forward to. I mean, could no harm. But I think
I like what you're saying there, Liam. I think there's an argument for. Now, we need to accept. I've made the point. I feel a lot of the players that have joined under Ange have bought into Celtic, and I think that's defined, Phil, by the length of contract that they've signed. Everyone seems to be signing a 5-year deal when they join Celtic. The loving for the manager isn't just the fans, right? I think the players that he brings in seem to all be sold the club. I was saying this in the breakfast bar yesterday. They sold the club by Ange, and it's Ange's vision. But undeniably, below all of that, and I have seen that it's went 2-2, by the way, so, it was fun for 10-15 minutes. But we'll now get to talk more in focus about the team that they need to catch, keep up the pace with this lot, it'll be difficult. And let's be honest, Phil, players, though, under that, this is an amazing project, an amazing vision, they're still, and I'll use my wee phrase that I've recently been using, I don't know why, they're acutely aware, mate, right, of raising their profile as well. Yep. And I actually happen to think now, Phil, the manager plays a big part in that, because yes, I was telling you off it, not a goal, sorry. I've got my bank cards in the superstore at Tesco, not the superstore at 4. I was telling the boys off here I'd lost my bank card. It's there. I will get it in the morning. Happy days. I just got a wee notification. Sorry about that. Oh, thank God. Anyway, right. Sorry, Phil. Fucking losing the plot here. Superstore at 4 came into my head. Whenever I see anyone mention it's in the superstore, I panic. Do you know what I mean? I didn't want anyone, battering me. But Phil, these players, as well as I say, all the visions and all the project stuff, they will be looking at Juranovic getting linked to Atletico Madrid, Manchester United, Barcelona, and they're licking their lips a wee bit as well. I think it was epitomised by, I'm going to give you an example, Jota's,
the free kick at Real Madrid.
Aye. Yep. Like, what was the score at that point? Was it 5?
No, 5-0 down, made it 5-1.
That's embarrassing.
And but it gives you a bit of insight, Mark. This is what I'm getting at, because it goes, this is what the opportunity being at Celtic brings. Scouts don't care about what the score is. Scouts care about what the individual does. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that gives you the wee insight. And Liam's right. See, once you get a real example of Ange going, what did I tell you boys 18 months ago when you fucking joined? What did I tell you? Big clubs will be interested in you if you stick to doing what I tell you. And Juranovic goes for 100 million, 100 zillion pounds in January, then he's going to have that example there. And I think, and it's going to happen early January, by the way. I wonder, Phil, if Liam's onto a winner there with that point, it's a great angle to take on it. Are the boys going to, not because we are looking for this as supporters, we want them up for it because they play for Celtic, but it can raise the standards a wee bit again when effectively you now know the big boys are looking at what you're doing.
Aye, there's that. I think it was yesterday on the breakfast bar. Was it Johnny brought up the point about Van Dijk, how he did the Southampton move before Liverpool, and it's like, well, if we see Juranovic thing happens and he does end up at a team like Barcelona, although I don't know about if they'd pay us on time, to be honest, but a team of that level, you don't have that middleman team. You're getting a step up to a team that is top 4 in the country. Like in one of the top leagues. So it would be, that would be under Ange, that might be what we'll see rather than under Brendan, where players were leaving and having that middleman team before they would get the move to the big team and so on. So there's got to be some appeal there. And you're right about you were talking about that. The Jota free kick was exactly the example that was in my head as well, because that was more for the highlight reel, for the player's brand, because thanks to people like Cristiano Ronaldo over the years, it's all about a player's brand now, Kylian Mbappe, all these players, something you can add to the highlight reel. And you're right, they're not looking at, they don't care what the scouts don't care what the score is at that point, they're looking at the player's technique, how he pulled off that free kick. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why that goal mattered so much to Jota. Probably was a bucket list thing as well, but there's also that in the back of his head that, by the way, man, if some heavy duty scouts are watching that, they're going to be impressed. But I'd like to,
another example of it, right? Another example of it, Phil, is these boys then say Juranovic is then living the life in La Liga. He's made pals for life at Celtic. He's texting, they're fucking FaceTiming and all that. And suddenly it's like, wow, it's a reality. Do you know what I mean? Because they're seeing it and they're hearing about the experiences. And whilst we don't want to fall into the trap again of being Stepping Stone FC, I also think we need to be aware that there's a lot of clubs out there that can afford far higher wages than us, offer competition domestically that is far, far stronger than what we can offer a better climate and a better profiling for the player as well. So I think with that, when you combine all that, there's always going to be an element of Stepping Stone FC. But what Ange's getting so right is he's getting these 5-year deals off them all when they first join, such as the conviction of the negotiation that he's carrying out. That's key as well, Phil.
It's going to be this is where the club's resolve is going to be pushed, though, because it is all well and good tying them down to these long-term deals, and in theory, that should push their value up and mean that the club can demand more. Now it's up to the club to show that. Don't accept these some of the prices we've seen over the years. We know that these English teams in particular are absolutely minted beyond belief. It's an insult, some of the prices that have been thrown our way over the years. We could have got so much more for some of the players. Say Van Dijk, when he left to go to Southampton, he could have walked into that Liverpool team instead of going to Southampton. We could have got a bigger fee for him at that time as well, because you could see he was that good. So this will test the resolve of the club. We'll see what they are made of if clubs do come knocking for Josip Juranovic in the next couple of weeks. It's up to the club to be as strong-minded on it as possible and demand the highest possible fee if it comes to that.
Mark, in a social media era, and where players are, you can see almost, every single minute of a player's career going forward at other clubs. I mean, it'll be no different for these guys as ex-teammates and things. And the links with Juranovic, as much as we might find them fanciful at times, there's obviously a bit of substance now as to there is going to be clubs of a higher level than perhaps we expected to be interested in Juranovic. And I think that will create a bit of a stir in the dressing room. I'm not saying it, and I'm not saying it in a negative light either. And I think that's what Liam was kind of alluding to. I think it's a motivation to go, I love playing here, because you play here, right? You get all the joy off the fans, you get the trophies, you get Champions League, and then at the end of it, you've got a chance to go and play in one of the top leagues at a top club, earn stupid amount of millions of pounds, and live out your probably your career at a club you maybe more had visions of playing for when you were young and had posters on your wall as opposed to posters of, Effie Ambrose and stuff. So I just think I think it's healthy, as opposed to it going to lead to an exodus or a queue of players looking to get out. I just think it goes, what the gaffer told us at the start, that's why we signed these 5-year deals. He was fucking right. He was right. I think that will be the example that maybe gets taken when Josip Juranovic goes for his zillion quid.
That's it. I think the 5-year deals we've been signing guys in their mid-20s, they're offering a bit of security for the players, and maybe that's why these players have chose Celtic over maybe a more lucrative, maybe shorter term contract. Celtic will get you European football. Celtic will give you a platform to at least be all you can be. If you come to Celtic Park and you've got a certain level of ability, you can showcase that. That will be shown. Celtic's TV audience can be worldwide, and so can their reach. It's not only people that watch Scottish football that watch Celtic. Celtic are watched by football people. If you like football, you'll have your eye on Celtic at some point during the season. Because of the type of football they play. not just under Ange. Ange didn't invent good football. I know some people think he did, but Celtic have had their own brand of football since the day they were born. The day they were formed. You know what I mean? When Celtic were one of the very first teams to have a rigid formation rather than just 3 at the back and 7 up top. Celtic were one of the first teams to formalise the attacking play. So no, I think anybody that comes to Celtic, I think they've got the, as you say, they've got the fan base and they've got the trophies, but they've also got the promise that if you do well enough, England is just round the corner for you. You're on England's doorstep. I think, no, we don't sell as many players as we should for the big bucks. Juranovic is interesting. I think Celtic have already committed to selling him, but see this window of opportunity Celtic have got to maximise his selling. I think it's only going to last for a few weeks. I think you got to sell him early, and you got to get him the right deal at the right price.
I agree with that.
It might well be that Celtic take a slightly smaller transfer fee if they're confident in him. If they get a better sell-on clause, i.e., if they sell to, I'm not saying he could get a game for West Ham. I doubt it. Just say, for instance, you sell me a West Ham for 20 million or 15 million with a 20% sell-on clause. It only takes one good season and Spurs buy you for 40. You know what I mean? That's what it takes.
Of course.
My big West Ham pal will be raging that I mentioned Spurs. He hates them, but no, I think. No, I genuinely understand what you're saying, mate. I'm with you on that, man. But I think I think you'll find that Juranovic will probably be sold, if no, the day or two after the derby match in January. It'll certainly be that week, and it'll be quick, it'll be smooth, and for me it'll be painless.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know it's upsetting for some folk, but
just so deadpan the way you said that wee last kicker at the end. Oh, love it. Absolutely love it, Judge. That was brilliant, mate. Liam, you got us on a good debate there, big boy. That was brilliant because I hadn't really.
We're selling them or executing them.
I hadn't thought of it from that angle. I also think right now as well, we know the plaudits Celtic have got for this Champions League campaign, despite only the 2 points. Now, we have two sides of the coin. The side I'm on very much is, I think that'll be reflected on differently if that's to be repeated again next year. I think we'll start going, hold the new. Right, that's 2 years we've only won 2 points, but we're still like going, this is amazing. That'll become powder puff. Do you know what I mean? But at this moment in time, it's undeniable. And, I was going to say important. That's not really influencing, shall we say. People in the media have spoke very highly about Celtic when they've seen them. Guys, like Steve McManaman's been really impressed, but this guy's got a platform on BT Sport on Champions League night every week that Champions League's on. So you can't deny the audience he's reaching out to when he's saying how well we're playing does hit home that wee bit more than fucking Chris Boyd thinking, that Brown Brogues are great. Do you know what I mean? It just works a bit differently. But with that in mind, what I like about the players that are joining us as well is Ange's example of Juranovic will be this. There's a boy who came from Legia Warsaw, a league that Mark's described, I think factually as below par. If I can do that to him in 18 months, now we're not saying there wasn't a good player there already, right? But at the end of the day, was it Legia Warsaw when he was 25, 26, right? There's got to be reasons behind that as well. If he can turn him into a player, right, that we're punting on for £20 million or £15 million, whatever it may be, to one of the top clubs like a Barcelona, Manchester United, even a top 10 English Premier League side like West Ham, if he winds up there, having been at Legia Warsaw 18 months ago, I think that is a real selling point for potential new signings. And I also think the guys there have a buy-in now that to what we're doing works. Now, I know time will tell on that because at the end of the day, points make prizes. And next year at the Champions League, I'll be talking a completely different way if we do the same thing. But at this moment, Ange's reputation, I think, is up there. I think when he's got that example as well, not on his CV as such, but on his track record at Celtic, that signed a player, in the first transfer window I was at the club, sold him in the fourth transfer window I was at the club for 4 times the price, 5 times the price maybe. These things point to Okay, yes, more vultures circling, but as Phil was saying, more evidence for Celtic to play hardball with.
Which one did you ask that to?
That's for Liam.
Liam.
Sorry.
That's for contestant number 3.
I thought what you're talking. Say that again, mate.
Sorry, Liam. Come on down, mate. Come on down. Sorry, mate. No, what I'm saying is, for the players, the example that you get from a Juranovic, right?
Aye.
Signed in Ange's first window as manager, sold in his fourth window as manager, right?
Aye.
And for 5 times the price, and he's played in a World Cup semi-final. You look at that and you start going, let's get back to what Phil's saying. We've now got evidence there of what this guy does to players. Who else has he been working with for the last 2 years? Now, we're not inviting vultures here, but what we are doing is strengthening our hand when it comes to negotiating higher fees. Once this one's gone, and if you can get a Legia Warsaw player leaving for a Barcelona, I'd say it was Barcelona hypothetically, then fucking hell, folks start going, well, why has he got on with that Jota boy? Because I remember his name cropping up 5 years ago and stuff like that, and it'll all spiral for there. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, that's why Champions League and that's so important to as well, too, because to do well in that's where we should be showcasing. Ironically, that's where I thought Juranovic fell apart. We all know that. He didn't show up in the Champions League. That's why us as fans, we see that. We don't see the performances at the World Cup as well. But I think it's something interesting. I'd love to know what that plan is, that when the players talk about sitting down with Ange, what they say is, Ange presented me a plan and I bought into it. And I'd love to know how he sets up that plan so that when somebody like Juranovic, when he comes into our club, like that might be the reason you've seen so much of him over Austin. That part of the plan, that his part of the plan was 18 months, or he'll have so many segments that Ange talks in modules and stuff like that, right? Of player development, of how that's going to be. It's almost like he's running like three-dimensional chess board of all the players and how they're going to integrate, but at what times they evolve and get sold based on age, experience. And then in Juranovic's case, like being on a big team like Croatia that knew they were going to do well at the World Cup. And so I'd love to see what Matt O'Reilly's plan is, Like, is he more like a mid-term to long-term? And maybe Juranovic and Giacomakis being older boys, and maybe even Kyogo for that matter, they're more short gap solutions. And then we're going to, work in guys like, Ali Johnson and that as mid-term solutions. And then we've got the young guys like Abada and some of the boys coming through like Rocco Vata and stuff like that. And so I think that's interesting to see how that develops, Yeah,
I've got the feeling, obviously between now and May, I'm gonna speculate a bit. I think we might need to get you and Alistair Johnson Claxon, mate, because I know you've got a vested interest.
Yeah, I've got a theory why he was assigned it. I think he might be able to let us play 3 at the back and 2 up front, because that's what he
spoke about it, didn't he? He spoke about the centre back thing because he winged it to get his move to Montreal. And he said, I centre back, played it loads of times. I thought his interview was great. I said that on the breakfast bar the other day. But yeah, it is interesting you say that about the potential change in formation. And I think sometimes you've got to just switch it a wee bit and catch people off guard. At the end of the day, when Lennon did it, for example, what were we, a point off the top with a game in hand going into the new year? But the League Cup display, the League Cup final display really had highlighted deficiencies in what we were doing. But Lennon had the presence of mind. I know he gets pelters and that, but he had the presence of mind at that time to change it. And for that 2.5 months, Celtic were a different animal because they changed it. But they changed it from actually a position where things weren't all that bad. The league title was very much in our hands still. It was just one game and kind of really highlighted that maybe we need to tweak it. And I think you're right. I think Alistair Johnson gives us a variety of options, Liam.
Aye, so get that Claxon. Boom, boom.
Watching this, Liam, as well. I'll come back to you, mate, because Vital Celtic News is talking about this as well, but what you were alluding to, but in a slightly different way. And good to have you on the bus as well, big man. And he says the good thing about Juranovic's transfer is it will open our club to a market of players as well, that maybe wouldn't have considered moving to Scotland before. Do you think that's fair?
I think that's bang on. You asking me this time, boy? Say aye.
Aye, this time it's you, mate. Again, I'm coming back to you. See, I'm just trying to confuse you tonight.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I think that's fair assessment as well, because if, again, it goes back to this plan. If you know you're going in a place where your career is actually planned, then that's a lot more than just going and hope you'll wing it and break out. If you know what the milestones are, if you know what the objectives are you have to reach, and all those are out, and then there's an actual working model in it that, look, that actually does happen, the right teams will come in for you. I see you going like, when he sat down with JJ, it was like, listen, I see you going to a European team like a Barcelona or this. We're not going to just bite the hand off a Southampton or something. You won't do well down there. You need to play in a big team, you know, like the Gallus that are attacking all the time. And I will help you get to that part of your career. And then I'll make sure that you go at the right time, know when you're past it. So Ange's taken a very, very active step, I think, in the player's career. And I think that's the promise. And that's what I think will entice young players as well, that they'll see like a guy like, you know, Matt O'Reilly is sensible and that went from MK Dons to, let's see where he ends up.
To Fulham. Well. He went Fulham. He was he not scouted by Liverpool, playing in Fulham's under-23 team, but he was the hottest, well, one of the hottest prospects they had. Liverpool were sniffing about. He stepped down the league to go to MK Dons, played half a season there, got his move to Celtic. I mean, whoever's advising him is well on the money. And now you've got a player there again. If he were to leave in the summer, and we need to get used to this, by the way, this isn't us advocating players leaving. This is Andrew's told us, don't get too settled with them because it's going to be aggressive. And we're going to be flipping players, I think is what he was meaning. Flip it. Remember that part? I think in the case of Matt O'Reilly, he'd be another case in point. You go, fuck me, if they signed a guy for MK Dons and within 18 months, 2 years, punted him for 15 to 20 million quid. Who is this manager, firstly? And secondly, that's a club to be spying in. That's a club. And again, I think like Vital Celtic News is telling us, that attracts players as well. Because folk will look at the Matt O'Reilly model, won't they, Phil?
Aye, they will. I mean, there is a track record, especially in England, where, you know, League One, Milton Keynes Dons. Remember a few years ago, or more than a few years ago now, but when Tottenham signed Dele Alli, signed him from Milton Keynes Dons, and at one point in time, he was like one of the most red hot prospects in English football. He's one of those guys that, you know, kind of like he himself has stifled his own career, but there was a point where he was genuinely like the best attacking midfielder England had a few years ago, and they brought him straight from Milton Keynes Dons. So these big teams in the Premier League are aware of the third tier, the second tier, of their own league pyramid. There is talent there, and they'll be looking at a guy like Matt O'Reilly and his trajectory. And you just said there, Liverpool were looking at him at one point, so he'll still be on their database. You know, we talk about the City Group database. Liverpool will probably have one where they'll be keeping wee tabs on him to see his progress, especially now that he's also chosen a national side that he can probably get into their national first team a lot quicker. You know, with Denmark, it's still at a stage where he could still declare for England. It depends because it's friendlies and under 21s. He can still
Declan Rice, three friendly caps for Ireland.
But no, there's definitely examples there where English teams do keep an eye on players at that level that Matt O'Reilly came from. So yeah, they'll be keeping an eye on him.
Mark, the thing is though with these guys, it's great having all these plaudits for playing great football and all that. But like I was saying, points make prizes, and there's no more important points Celtic can go for between now and the end of the season than in the SPFL, and the action starts again this weekend. I'm going to get obviously it is the Thursday Night Forum, not just me pinging questions at you. So I want to get some people coming in there suggesting who they think merits getting the start already. Do you know what I mean? Is there any curveballs in there? We're not going to go, name your start in 11 because I've not got a clue. We're not going to go down that road. We're going to actually just go, any curveballs you would like to see, starting at the weekend, Mark. Because obviously the two new signings, unavailable till January. Is there anyone that you think's in with a shout, considering obviously Juranovic should be missing? I don't subscribe to the argument that Cameron Carter-Vickers, shouldn't be available. For me, he's got to be fit and firing. I mean, his World Cup finished long enough ago now for him to be ready to get back in the lineup. He only played one game as well. Any other sort of surprises you see Ange pulling at the weekend on Saturday, midday, 12:30?
No, the only call he's got is where he plays Callum McGregor or no. Where he starts him or where he starts O'Reilly in the number 6 role was the only decision I think he's got to make. I think the team picks itself just now. I mean, apart from the fact that we've spoken about Juranovic, he's just finished the World Cup a few days ago, so he's going to be out the equation. I don't know what you're laughing at, this here.
No, I think he said it before. He said, here's a fun stat. Russell said Jonathan 68 times. He must be talking about Monday Club. Apparently, I say my brother's name a lot when I'm talking. So thanks for that, Gary. Strange observation out of nowhere. The judge was in full flow there, but sorry.
I know. Well,
sorry,
mate. Since I'm off my train of thought, I watched Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with the Rain yesterday. It was an awful film with Johnny Depp, but they had this. They talked. They killed it, right? But they had this everlasting gobstopper. I think that beer Russell's got is like, it doesn't go down no matter how much he drinks it. It just stays at the tap. I don't know. They wonder fucking Tesco's took your bank card after you. It doesn't go down that one. He never seems to open a new boat when he just lasts forever. No, I think.
Never-ending gobstopper.
I know, mate. That's what it's like in here, man. He just talks about shit. But I think the only decision for me is Juranovic is still away, so he's probably just getting a wee couple of days holiday. So it's got to be Ralston, it's got to be Taylor, it's got to be Carter Vickers. I think Russell's right, and it's got to be. I think it'll be Jens still. I don't think Starfelt's got much match time in him yet. Midfield speaks for itself. Maybe a call, which it'd be interesting because if he starts Giakoumakis, that might tell you that Ange has been kind of surveying the situation with Giakoumakis, and he's spoken to him and says, okay, I know game time's maybe one of your bugbearers just now, and your agents maybe put some things out there, you've changed agents. So it'd be interesting if he starts Giakoumakis over Kyogo on Saturday. That tells you that the negotiations maybe are more to do with not just finances. There could be more to it than that. And we've seen it before with managers. Players went into the press first and spoke to them, then chapped the manager's door. And it can only go two ways for them. So the interesting thing for me on Saturday is who starts up front. If it's Giakoumakis,
you've just nailed it.
I think he's going to. I think he's say a lot. I think Giakoumakis is going to go this window anyway. There's no rush to sell Giakoumakis. It doesn't matter what anybody throws at the table. I think Celtic would need to be in a position where they know that they'll get somebody lined up. I don't think it's. I don't know if you remember Neil Lennon. He was trying to get a striker in one of the windows and they couldn't get him, and he still loaned out Tony Watt the same day. Celtic aren't in that situation anymore where they just make stupid decisions. They're looking for another striker. They've got 4 in the books. They do like to send one out and bring one in. We don't get one in, but send one out anyway. It's just foolish. Celtic don't seem to be operating like that just now. I think Albion Ayeti was let go last year because Albion Ayeti was surplus to requirements. I think, although he did play a good game at Real Betis, I think he scored. He won a penalty and scored a goal. Then he got 2 at Parkhead a couple of days later. But his time was up at Celtic. We all know we better have a fucking an actual Yeti than that cunt. You know what I mean? And, no, I'm off on a tangent again. But
no, you're fine. You've just created the best talking point to go on with the selection, which I hadn't thought about. So well done. That's why we threw it out there, and you've just came up with a peach. What would we read into? Say, I don't think Giakoumakis will start, right? Because I just think Kyogo's the boy for Ange, right? And that's fine. And we've argued that the toss all the first half of the season, and the number of starts for each player don't lie. If though Giakoumakis were to come on for his usual sort of half an hour, 25 minutes, or he were in the unlikely circumstances start the football match, the thing is with that, would that then take you to a place where you start going, hold on now, are we getting duped a wee bit here that Giakoumakis is the one who's angling for a move? And the reality is he's changed agent because he was effed off. At the reports that have obviously been leaked by someone who's meant to be representing him in a way that he sees fit. Because undeniably the change of the agent normally doesn't occur when the transfer rumours start. That's usually your agent at work on your behalf. So it was really strange that he was linked with a move away and then he was changing agent. Very rarely do you see it in that order where everything right before that, let's bear in mind, was completely hunky-dory, Liam. Hunky-dory. Hunky-dory.
I hope it is. I hope it is about playtime, right? Because, in modern football, it's always about the money. If it's for playing time, then I'm on Giamakis' side on this one as well, because I think he has been shafted a bit.
Yeah.
I've seen Kyogo miss chance after chance, and we're talking about the whole team being in a rut. That was Kyogo that was in a rut for the longest time, and we still kept playing him, hoping that he would play himself out of that. But I don't think that's his game. I think he's one of these guys. He's going to miss 20 chances and maybe score 4. Whereas I think you get better odds with big chaos up front. And absolutely. I think he adds more to the team. And I know Ange must be certain rhythm or flow or something, but I see him tracking back. I also think he gives us an aerial threat. And the other thing he offers is physicality. We'll see what happens when you go up to Aberdeen, in 2 days, and start throwing the physicality about as well. VAR is their friend. It's not went away, or it's not got better since the World Cup, So we'll still get that sort of stuff, to negotiate as well. So maybe you'll see him on Saturday because they have a more physical back line, or it might be part of the plan, to get into the winter months where it seems to be harder and grittier foot. Maybe that's where we'll see more chaos and less of Kyogo.
Aye, I mean, for me, on the football side of it, I felt this season I would have been happier to have seen Giacomakis get at least a fairer crack of the whip, right, than what he's been given. I think based on Kyogo's form, I think he is the league's top scorer still, but he's not been always at it and yet persisted with. Whereas Giacomakis has scored at times and then been pulled out of the lineup, and I find that a wee bit tough, Phil, to sort of, to understand. Oh, Chunks in my trunks in with a $5. You're a legend, mate. Brilliant to have you back, mate. I knew I liked you. No, thank you so much, man. Nice one. I appreciate that big time. And it means that actually I've got my bank card and a $5 now to spend on it. So thank you very much, Chunks in my trunk. Although it doesn't land in my bank for about another 3.5 months. But Phil, the Giacomakis debate will rage on in terms of on the pitch, and I think it's a healthy one. And we know we're going to have loads of that in the second half of the season. But what's your reaction when you think about it to this agent changing? Is that going to maybe make Ange go, let's be honest, Ange seems to do everything 2 months ahead of it coming out. Alistair Johnson told us that. Do you think there's a chance that Ange Postecoglou, right, is fucking knowing his agent was at it, and went, see, whilst all this nonsense is going to be going on in the background, and all this, shit stirring's going on, and you come to me wanting 45 grand a week, and that's, hypothetical, by the way. But see, if you think you'll be coming to me making daft wage demands and then leaking stories to the paper that you want out, I'll not be playing you. Because it could have been at the contract negotiations that have been reported. No one's actually said when they were. The only rumour was, if we remember correctly, the only rumour was that it was going to be at the end of the season. The rumour was there was a clause that if you played enough games, you got, an improved contract. So why would it be November, December time that suddenly this is pissed off Giacomakis? So I just wonder if there's been a side story going on in the background that Andrew's acutely aware of and has decided that he's going to not give him that fair crack of the whip that we expect to see, because I do think at times he's been a wee bit unfairly treated with his minutes on the pitch. I've got to be honest.
Aye, it's one of those battles on the park this season. I feel it's been a bit skewed. Same goes with our right back situation, where it's like last season it was a bit more 50-50. But this season it feels like there's a definitive number one in those positions, and Kyogo's definitely been the golden boy. And as Liam rightly says, he misses a hell of a lot of chances. Yeah, Giacomakis misses them too. But Kyogo has had a hell of a ratio, even going back to, remember he scored the hat-trick against Dundee early last season when it was still coming out of the COVID era. And it was one of 20,000 fans were at it, and we beat them 6-0. He scored a hat-trick, but could have scored 6 that day. It's just like that to set the tone for Kyogo's style of play, where he will miss a few chances, but he will put them away eventually. But no, he's it has been a strange one with the Giakoumakis thing. I expected a lot more. And the thing is, when he has came in and got a start or came off the bench, he can't do much else to really convince Ange Postecoglou to give him a go. And that's for the agent changing thing. You know, when I heard that story as well, and I think years ago, Alex Ferguson said that about how agents will ruin football, and he wasn't wrong on that one. He was warning people about it in the sort of late 90s, early 2000s, about, you know, agent power and stuff like that. And yeah, when you hear stories about players changing agents and stuff like that, it always is a wee bit ominous about it, because, yeah, again, it's just there's a money game into it. You know, agents are always looking for a cut, the best percentage that they can get, and so on. So, but I don't think Ange would be fazed by them. The agent could come in and demand X, Y, and Z. I don't think he's got that sort of attitude where if the player and the agent want to act up and be a bit of a wido about it, really, he'll just say, well, there's the door then. And no, I don't think he's got any problem with telling an agent or a player no. I don't think he's got any issue with that one. But they can be a bit of a distraction at times. The playing a bit of a funny game, the old agents, but. Hopefully, change of agent was for the better. It was a good reason he changed it. But me personally, whenever I hear those stories, I'm always like, oh, bit of dark cloud over that one. I don't know.
I get what you're saying, Phil. I get what you're saying, Mark. I've kind of, I was playing the other argument on it because I just feel that the stories were already there, the links were already there, the mischief was kind of already made, and then. Ideally, if that is your end game that you want, then your agent's kind of doing your job for you the right way. Do you know what I mean? If these stories,
well, I think there's a reason for that, boys. I think the reason is that agents don't get paid every week. Agents only get paid when something happens. So, for instance, they might be on some sort of that beer again. Let's get up now. They're on this. I think they must be on some sort of like. I can't remember what you call it, but they don't get paid every week. You know what I mean? If they make a move or they make decisions and the player moves on, they'll be getting their fee, of course they will. And they maybe get like a handler's fees when the club speak to them and things like that. But so, for instance, if this guy was trying to agitate things and make a move, so to get 10 million for, you know, he's quids in. So maybe this Giakoumakis, as Russell was saying there, the fact of the matter is he's changed agent halfway through. Papers been getting stories about him wanting. Normally it's all the way about. Normally you get a new agent and then the talk starts. So
exactly.
It is interesting that I mean, I could be reading it this too much, but it's interesting that the agent gets changed after rumours start. It could be one that he said, you know what was that all about? You're not going to get another payday out of me by trying to upset me. The manager takes no shit off anybody. I'm going to be drafted into the reserves in the Marriott. Or there is truth. I think there's the truth always in the middle. There's always truth in the middle. You've got the agent, the club, and the player, right? And if the three of them on the aligned, and trouble starts to happen. You know what I mean? I agree with what you said there about Alex Ferguson saying that agents will ruin football. They'll ruin football for clubs. The fans will always, one way or another, maybe a different set of fans, but the fans will always get the benefit out of that. And Alex Ferguson, Jock Stein, and me, if there's three men that you listen to about football, it's absolutely they three in that order. So I absolutely back you, Phil, there when Alex Ferguson said that they only get paid, obviously, when things start to happen. So if I was sitting and I was looking at my diary and there wasn't much happening, I mean, his agent's probably no got 15, 20 players that are going for 4, 5, 6 million pounds. He's maybe only got a handful of players that are potentially money makers for him, and maybe he's trying to get his sell a move out of this boy. I mean, don't get me wrong. We're speaking earlier on about your advice you would give players when you're negotiating contracts and you're saying, look, if I was Andrew, I'd say, look, listen, forget about where we are in the league just now. If you come and show us what you're good at on a personal level, you've got a shop window. You can go to the Premiership. You can make more money. Here's evidence A, B, C, D, and E. But that also goes with the agents. The agents in their mind will be looking at players and going, right, I want him to be there for 18 months maximum. You know, I want him to go there. I mean, they'll have a wee journey for that guy. That's probably agents are employed by the player themselves, so they've got to show the player that they've got the best interest of the player, not because they care, because they want to. They really don't care. They drop a hat. I mean, they want to maximise. I mean, as soon as the players' football careers are over, unless they'll go to some sort of punditry, they're dropped like a hot toddy, mate. So, and they still answering the phone to these guys. So that maybe Jackie Marcus has found out this guy all along has been a bit of a leech, or it could well be that there is truth in the rumours that Jackie Marcus is agitating. I think, see, when there's situations like this happen, agents can make a phone call to a local newspaper, and just say if I talk to him, if it's Greece, if he's got a pal in the Greece Times or whatever, he can just say, look, put out there the morning, will you, that Jackie Marcus is ready for the off, and it only takes that, and before you know it just snowballs into he's unsettled.
Yeah.
And I've not looked at once, even Juranovic. I think Juranovic has looked as if he's disinterested at times, but I've not looked at any player under Ange and thought to myself, this guy is buying into what's going on here. Every time I look at Jackie Marcus, I see a man that's actually fucking totally determined to prove
trying too hard
his own self-doubts. I mean, I've seen a guy score 2 goals and miss a chance, which they all do, and honestly, God, he beats himself up. I think if Kyogo was just like that, Kyogo when he wake up in the morning, he when he go to bed, because he misses 45 chances before Kyogo's just that good that he's in a position to score 45 goals, to be honest. But
really a bit dark there, Mark.
Well,
he'll not wake up in the morning.
Well, they call me the Grim Reaper for a reason, don't they?
Liam, we're going to do what we now do in the Thursday Night Forum. It's going to be a wee bit of quick facts. We've got loads of good questions coming in. So, Liam, I'm just going to come to you. I don't need this to go around the group. As Liam's take on this, whose game time is now going to suffer? Calmac is back to fitness. Someone's got to drop out because he goes straight back in.
Aaron Moy wonder.
Moy wonder. Did his World Cup not sway your mind at all on that?
I think I'm hoping to see a ruthless Ange with this one. That McGregor comes in. I think he did really well. He played himself up into fitness to get a World Cup out of him. But the same way Ange was with Tom Rogic, I think he has to be that way with Aaron Moy as well. And I think he done really good, but I don't think he's an anchor on our team. I think we go back to McGregor, and then I'd like to see O'Reilly and Hatate. So that's a 3 I'd like to see in the middle, and I don't think there's a place for more. Like Turnbull might come on to replace O'Reilly or a Hatate at some point, and then Moy goes back into that maybe just to bring in it the last 10, 15 minutes of a game and see how it goes. But I think McGregor goes right back into the team because I think he's the engine. He keeps everything moving. He's the momentum.
I agree with that totally. Phil, do you think agents have too much influence? I know where he's coming from here because you see it in boxing all the time. The promoters have too much influence, mate, and they're at the end of the day effectively what a football agent is. They're the money men. They're the guys that go, don't do this, do this. You look at Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, they can't fight. They can never fight. And it's, it's because they don't want their prize fighter. And I think more in the case of Anthony Joshua, I think, Tyson Fury would be quite up for it. But they don't want AJ. They want to say AJ would fight Tyson Fury, but they don't really want it because they know that would be, yes, a brilliant payday, but the last big payday because his stock will fall that much. And he would rather just keep in box office for as many fights as possible and then make the fight happen when they're pretty much, at retirement age, or not carry the same sort of value, if you like. Do you know what I mean? Or not make as much odds because the millions and millions will be piled up. I wonder if age influence on players as well, and they can detract players from what their job is in at hand. Do you know what I mean? Because they're making them look here, look there. Do you know what I mean? I wonder if that. I think, do agents have too much influence?
Of course. I think though, it depends. There's layers to the agent thing. I think at the top level of the game, like the real elite level players and elite leagues and teams, I think you see it a lot more because the bigger the contract, the bigger the payday. I don't think over our time, Celtic have had many issues with player agents. You don't see that as a story. The only agent story we ever seem to see consistently is Dudu the hand rocking up and giving us another player. That's the only time we ever see that. But in terms of players leaving, it's very seldom that you hear a story come out that the agent was behind, like Van Dijk leaving or Armstrong or whatever player you can think of. It seems to be just a sort of mutual thing that clubs agree. But I do think at the top end of the game, like the real elite level clubs, agents are just poisoning the game. As George Mendes, the super agent that's Cristiano Ronaldo's representative, and the guy who's pals with the chairman at Wolverhampton and basically gives them all the Portuguese players, and he's basically just gave them an entire team. So there's influence for you right there from an agent. But I think at the top level, it's really rife. But we're in a sort of position where we're okay just now, but it could, you never know. The way the game's going, it could get worse for us.
Definitely. Mark, you've got one word answer here because you've got your segment to do at the end. So we'll get Brown Warriors' question to you. Just short and sweet, mate. One sentence, we'll say. There was a lot of calls for a big DMF to be brought in by many. Could Welsh not be moved forward into that role, given his ability to carry it and defend strongly? Oh, Brown, it landed on the wrong guy, this one.
Well, I think the only time I'd put him forward is if I was in the trenches in World War One. To be quite honest with you. I think he's red rotten. Fuck me.
I think that's part done. Right, okay, Liam. Oh,
God bless
too good. Do you think Rangers will overspend in January to try and get that automatic spot? Obviously, it means by winning the league, so they can get the CL money. Can they let us get further in front? I mean, do you think there is a chance that they go all, out for, what's the saying, all for broke or something like that? Do you think they will go hell for leather in January? They obviously didn't in the summer, but do you think they could start taking gambles again and risks? Because, I mean, even the management team switcheroonie that they've done is probably cost about £5 million all in to pay off Gio, bring in Beale, who's in employment at a 7th place club in the Championship. I mean, the money down there's daft. You look at that. If that was a $5 million outlay, do you see Rangers maybe overspending in January, Liam?
I don't see them spend. I see them probably getting loan deals. Can you see the spending? But you never know. Every time I've said that, finding money at the back of the couch. When you think of spending, they manage to come out and spend at times. So, and I think it'll be loan deals, and I think. Who knows what they have out there? I mean, they might be able to profit off of being a European, the UEFA Cup last year, and people having in the form this year, and just making something in that. Or it's also a place where they can showcase themselves, and just going by the positive buzz that's happening around Celtic. Maybe Scotland doesn't look that bad a place as well, and they might be able to pick up a couple of value players as well. Either way, I'm hoping that we're no done. I like where we are right now, but and I feel like Christ, the window's not even open. We've signed 2 players. I'm more excited about what we do. I think we still need another player, and if Gio's for the off, I think we need to find another big striker, somebody that can lead the line. But then we have to find an opportunity how to play him in the team. Either with Kogo or Kogo has to sit out, and if that's the case. We've already got the guy, So, anyway, I'm not bothered about Rangers, and I don't think they'll spend big. They won't be alone. That's it, No,
I think that's absolutely fair enough. We will give you a wee insight as to what's coming up on the bus in the next couple of weeks as well, because Judgment Day is coming soon, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a wee shorter show. It's going to have the man down there at the bottom left. He's going to be taking you guys' questions. We're going to do 3 questions a show. So it'll just be 5 to 10 minutes. Or, knowing Mark, that'll probably be about 3 years. But, but it'll be 3 questions. They'll appear on the screen. It'll be a pre-recorded show. And it's going to be Judge Kearney, holding these questions to account, giving his unapologetic views on them in only the way the judge can. That is coming, in the next week or so. The football's kicking back off. And that spin-off show will be occurring on the bus. Judge Kearney has signed on the dotted line and agreed to do it. So we are looking forward to that. But what we always look forward to on the T.N.F. is the judge's verdict. So it's over to you, Mark Kearney. Have you got anything for us?
I always laugh at that. I was reading through the Twitter earlier on, and I seen that Celtic, they've announced that you can do a pay-per-view for UK in UK for the Celtic Livingston match on the 21st, I believe it is. Is it the next Wednesday night? It got me thinking about at this time of year. I mean, I don't want to get into too much about the cost of living, but we're all struggling. I mean, I'm about £11 already to keep this house warm the day. Some people can't afford that, and I just think at this time of year, I mean, I looked at Motherwell yesterday. They announced again they're going to be feeding people, keeping people warm, giving wee clinics for it. And what a club that is, you know what I mean? I feel that Celtic could be doing many of that stuff. Celtic do a lot of work for charity. I've mentioned it before. They do. They don't always advertise it. That's quite classy by Celtic. They don't always advertise the stuff they do. It's kept in the circles that it's needed in, centres, speak to the right people. I just think that's a very good move by Celtic at all. I don't think charging people £11.99 for us to watch the Celtic game next Wednesday. They know for a fact that it's Wednesday night, it's 7:45. Guys have got a Christmas shop today. Maybe guys have just about finished up for work. It's going to be about 30,000 there anyway. Why charge people £11? This was a tap in for Celtic. This was the opportunity for Celtic to say, do you know what? Anybody with your YouTube channel, that subscribe to our YouTube channel, is going to watch that match for free. Seeing title holders like myself, like Phil, like anybody, wouldn't be upset about that, mate. You dress it up as a charitable thing today for the fans who can't make it, or even the fans who can make it, but they're maybe doing a Christmas shop and just can't get in to go to the match. A Wednesday night, boys, I just thought it was a game by the club, be a bit fucking crass, you know what I mean? And they make these decisions, and they're not upsetting anybody. I think it's done for the right reasons. I think they feel like, it's got to be a small crowd. Let's try and make the £11.99 as many times as we can. But get away for free, Celtic. Be classy as you do quite often when it comes to charitable things, but just look at the PR as well. You know what I mean? I know I'm going on a rant for tonight, but this is a kind of measured one when I'm thinking to myself.
That's Christmas, Judge. You're feeling the love, mate.
Of course, mate. I mean, I'm being charitable, mate. I even gave the bus driver a smile today. So I did.
He's talking about me, by the way.
No, well, I had hives. You know, if you know, babies have hives and they look like they're smiling. That's what it was. But no, I feel like Celtic. This was easy for the club. You know what I mean? I also seen me Regan, and he's always good at keeping his eye on these things. They're charging St Johnstone fans £32. Now listen, what is lost in this is if Celtic are charging the home fans roughly the same price, they've got an obligation to look after their home support. So the St Johnstone fans are going to be getting charged £32 and all. But I think at this time of year and all, I mean, everybody's scratching their ass, everybody's watching their pennies. Even the people that have coat money are realising now that it's not going as far as it normally does. Football, I've been saying for a long time, 20 is plenty for any away match, and I don't care. In England, you can only charge, I think, is it £20 for an away fan? In England, all right, don't get us wrong, £150 for a home fan, but there's also a lot of travel costs. Celtic have obviously got fans coming from Wimbledon and London every week. These guys are paying maybe 80, 90 quid for a bus alone sometimes, you know what I mean? So these guys, I thought Wednesday night, I mean, these guys are probably only going to make it. So, for instance, these supporters buses that can't make it F Island on a Wednesday night, they're going to have to find some dodgy stream to watch the Celtic game. 5 minutes after Celtic have scored, they're going to get a notification on their phone. I just think, if they're able to broadcast that and bypass a few rules, and it costs them a small bit of money, just do the right thing, Celtic. Subscribe to YouTube, get the benefits of advertising it, and just give it to everybody for nothing. Fuck your £511.99s. You know what I mean?
I think that's a brilliant idea. I think, Liam, we always go to the jury after the judge has spoken. And I think, you've got to agree with that. I mean, he used at the beginning of that brilliant judge verdict the example of Motherwell. Not only have Motherwell done what you were saying there, Matt, but they also released the third kit in time for Christmas, which I don't know if it's 50%, something like that. The profits go to suicide and mental health charities. Just thinking differently, and even did the shading of it so it's dark and then it's light at the bottom, goes to that Dortmund sort of fluorescent, and obviously that is, there's light at the end of the tunnel and all that. The subliminal message is fantastic, and I just think that's getting it right. But I take Mark's point as well. Celtic do get a lot right. Celtic always don't promote it that much, which I agree. I think classy is a good way to describe that. But I think right now, at this time, with the strikers out there right now, left, right, and center, I don't think we're really political, right? But the strikers that are going on and all that right now, and you've got billionaires telling you the strikers are out of order, tells you how fucked up this world is. When they strike, they don't get paid. So why are they striking? They're striking because it's that bad a situation. There's an open goal for the club that was formed on charity. Give it away. Do it at that price. Liam, are you on board with the judge on this one? I love it, mate. I think it's superb.
Totally on board with that. Totally on board with that. I think Celtic, as much as they do a lot of stuff right, we can be very, very lazy when it comes to looking at alternative revenue streams. You know, this has been something we've been talking about for ages, which is how they handle their broadcast effort. You know, it's been poor for years and years and years, and there's much other ways to make money from professional sports than just ticket sales and your broadcast rights. Like you see in North American sports, it's an entire experience. And that's what you should be able to bring back your revenue. So at times like this, you can give a break to your supporters so you don't feel like they're pressing their thumbs to come up with the money for a ticket, you know, a week before Christmas when times are tough. So I think I agree with you, Mark. I think Celtic should be doing more to help these people as well. And feel bad for the St. Johnstone supports coming all the way through there, you know.
Definitely. Phil, your take on a fantastic judge's verdict tonight, mate?
I definitely agree with that with Mark. But again, it's probably going to come down to the good old TV deal. It's going to be some sort of hindrance there where there was something in the fine print from Sky about can't do this and can't do that. And if you're going to show on pay-per-view, it needs to be charged. There was some clause somewhere that's preventing it. But totally this time of the year, given what's going on, the current climate, everything, it would just make so much sense just for one thing. I mean, the club's got no problem in previous years giving us a freebie on the season tickets. Remember that? We had European qualifiers. Your first game against like the really low-rated team would be like a freebie essentially. So they can do things like that. And surely it's not too much of a stretch to give us a football game for free on YouTube or whatever. If it's through the Celtic website, you have to create an account, but you still get to watch it for free. I don't think it's too much of a stretch. And also, I'm glad that Motherwell got a mention there because, I thought that was fantastic through the week seeing the...
One thing's context though as well, Phil. Just very quickly, I'm going to let you come back here.
Sure.
Just for context, like, let's compare who is a bigger risk to, you know, for Celtic, it is, you know, a tadpole in the ocean, mate, compared to the missing out of revenue that Motherwell deliberately and, you know, very deliberately put themselves through for the right cause is a far, far higher risk strategy, but yet it's the right thing and they're willing to do it. Sorry, Phil. Just, you know, I think the risk at Celtic needs to be put into context a wee bit when you compare it with that, eh?
I mean, Celtic aren't going to lose out that much on it. So again, especially at this time of the year, Wednesday night game, I mean, Mark will tell you, you know, over the years, a Wednesday night game, you're a season title holder in the middle of December. There's been some mad moments. I mean, I remember Scott Brown scoring a last minute winner against Hamilton. That was a midweek game in December, but the crowd that goes, it's like 25,000, 30,000 at it. I remember games against St. Johnstone, Partick Thistle midweek. So we're going to see a similar crowd to that game on Wednesday. So there'll be people that might be even for travel reasons who come from a part maybe further up north in the country. If this cold snap continues, can't get to the game. You know, but they'll have to pay this $11.99 to watch it on a pay-per-view, and it's like you could just give them it for free. The Path to Paradise, this person's a season ticket holder, they can watch it for nothing. But I was just going to say, I was glad that Murrow got a mention because I saw the things all through the week, obviously, with like the soup kitchen and stuff that they were doing, which was phenomenal. I was like, and again, this Alan Burrows that came in as CEO there, you know, I like they've cut his jib essentially. You know, he's very transparent on social media, you know, he's very you know, he'll come out and tell you what's going on, and I quite like that. But I saw he's that through the week.
It's 2022.
It is very,
he lives in the modern times. He lives in the modern times. But that was brilliant, Mark, and I'm glad that you highlighted that. And I think it was brilliant for everyone to get a wee. You can see the agreement, by the way, is universal in the comments. So that was a brilliant take on. We will wind it up there just to cheer everyone up a wee bit, though, just so you all know. I slipped royally on my arse on the way to work this morning. I mean, it was like 2 legs in the air, flying, mate, with a rucksack on. Do you know what I mean? So if anyone's seen that, trust me, they were pissing themselves. But yes, thank you to everyone who's been watching. It has been brilliant tonight on the T.N.F. It always is on the T.N.F. Thank you to yous in the comments, because that is what helps this channel. That is what we do. We interact with our viewers. We actually like to keep up all your comments, even if you disagree. That's okay. We're all for that. As for Phil and the other lot, Phil, Mark, and Liam, take it easy, guys. Brilliant to have you on the bus. And remember, when you're out there, don't do anything sinister. Good night.
Some of his comments about me deliberately trying to to cause controversy. Well, I work in the media now, and you've got someone sitting there next to you who's an embarrassment to the media profession. He's an apologist. He's a charlatan.